STEM Luxor School Training Unit. This is the PARLO Tracker training for STEM Luxor School teachers. Session 1. Tracker System. Evidence, Learning Outcomes, Reassessment, and General Functionality. PARLO definition and the tracker tool explained. What does PARLO stand for? P stand for proficiency, based. A stand for assessment and R stand for reassessment of. L stand for learning. O stand for outcomes. Definition of PARLO. A learning assessment and reassessment system that emphasizes students attaining proficiency or better on a limited set of high-value learning outcomes as defined by teachers. What is Tracker? Tracker is an online tool for teachers to communicate progress in learning to each student, to analyze student progression through the learning outcomes for the students and parents, to review the learning outcomes to see what is expected, to see how the student's performance has been rated, for the school administrators, to view each teacher's sections to see how students are progressing in their learning. Accessing a class section and the tracker screen explained. When you first log into Tracker, you will see a screen similar to the one here. This is the teacher dashboard and we will go over the details of this screen in a later session. For now, we are going to focus on accessing a specific subject and class section or class tracker. Each of the subjects and sections you teach will be listed under the Active Classes section or under the Current Tracker drop-down list on the toolkit. To access a specific tracker page for a single class section, either click with your mouse on name of the section under Current Trackers or the blue check mark next to the name under Active Classes. Tracker Class Section Layout. A screen similar to this one will show for the class section tracker. Let's look at the different elements on the screen. What are each of these items? A. Class section identifier and toolbox/function button. B. Student names. C. Learning outcomes and pieces of evidence. D. Ratings for evidence and learning outcomes. Adding, modifying, and rating evidence. All the learning outcomes for a subject or course will be preloaded into Tracker for you. However, the critical pieces of evidence will need to be added to each section you teach by you. To do this, you would click on Add Evidence under the Toolkit menu to display the Add Evidence form. In order for a piece of evidence to be saved in system, the name of the evidence, the type, and the assignment or due date needs to be entered. These required fields are marked with a red asterisk. In addition, the evidence must be associated with at least one of the learning outcomes which are accessed from a list when you click on the blue plus sign. Evidence can be associated with one or more learning outcomes. Just click on the blue plus sign next to each one that needs to be added. If there is a specific file, referred to as attachments, or website, referred to as hyperlinks, that the students need to access, they can be added to the evidence using the blue plus sign in each of those sections. When you teach multiple sections of a subject, they will be listed under Copy to Other Sections. Simply select the checkboxes for all the class sections that need this piece of evidence and the system will take care of entering it onto those trackers for you. Don't worry about the reassessment flag right now, we'll come back to that later on. When you've entered everything, you need to on the screen, select Save to enter it into the system. Modifying a piece of evidence. After evidence is added, it will show under the appropriate learning outcome or outcomes. If for some reason, you need to change some of the information, click the Edit button that corresponds with the name of the evidence. This will open a form similar to the Add Evidence form where all information can be modified. Rating a piece of evidence. Tracker utilizes a traffic light system to illustrate how a student is progressing with or demonstrating understanding of the learning outcomes. Means a student demonstrates higher order/strategic thinking, uses the learning outcome in new contexts and show connections. Means demonstrates clear understanding. Means progressing but has not demonstrated full understanding. Means demonstrating little or no understanding. Means the evidence was not turned in. Means the evidence is unrated. Rating evidence with a single learning outcome. To enter a rating for a piece of evidence, just click on the check mark that corresponds with the name of the evidence. When there is only one learning outcome associated with this evidence, a screen similar to this one appears. Ratings and feedback can be entered for individual students by clicking on the associated rating box. You can apply a rating quickly to all students that do not have one by selecting it at the top of the screen and clicking Apply. Rating evidence with multiple learning outcome. When there are multiple learning outcome associated with a piece of evidence, a screen similar to this one appears. Again, you can enter individual ratings. You can also quickly apply a rating to all students that do not have one by selecting the associated learning outcome and appropriate rating at the top of the screen and clicking on Apply. Note that you can apply a bulk evidence rating to one or more than one associated learning outcomes by selecting the corresponding checkbox. Modifying evidence ratings. Once a piece of evidence is rated, you will see them represented on the tracker by the color. The gray shading on the ratings box indicates that you entered feedback for that student. If you need to modify a rating or the feedback, also referred to as comments, click on the box that corresponds with the evidence rating for a specific student. Once you are finished with your changes, click Save to update the tracker screen. The feedback is also viewable if you hover your mouse over the rating box. Reassessment. Teachers and students can work together to come up with a reassessment plan so the student can demonstrate a higher level of understanding of a learning outcome. Reassessment evidence is entered just like regular evidence. Remember the reassessment checkbox? Click that box to mark this evidence as a reassessment assignment. Don't worry if you forgot to check it when you first entered the evidence. You can click on the Edit button for the evidence on the tracker screen and then select the checkbox. Just remember to save your changes. Students don't see the reassessment evidence unless it's assigned to them in the system. Click the Rate box for the students that will work on the assignment and select the checkbox for Flag for Reassessment. Students will now be able to see the assignment on their tracker page when they log in. Once the assignment is complete, it's rated just like any other evidence. You'll notice when you get into the rating screen that the students who were assigned this evidence have the unrated symbol in the rate field. Enter in each individual student rating or use the batch rating and then save. Rating learning outcomes. There are 3 levels to indicate students' level of understanding of a learning outcome. High performance, blue H. Proficient, green P. Not yet proficient, red N. Rating a learning outcome. Learning outcome ratings are entered similarly to evidence ratings. Simply click on checkbox that correlates to the learning outcome to bring up the rating screen. A rating of not yet proficient, proficient, and high performance can be selected for each individual student. While one piece of evidence may be the primary indicator of student achievement, each student should be evaluated by their overall performance. The system has a batch rate function which will assign a rating to a learning outcome based on the rating of a specific piece of evidence. To use the batch rating, select the radio button that corresponds with the piece of evidence with the highest cognitive demand and click Apply. Similarly, the rating for a learning outcome can be removed for all students by selecting Unrate All. Modify individual LO rating. Once a learning outcome is rated, you will see them represented on the tracker by the color. If you need to modify a rating, click on the box that corresponds with the learning outcome rating for a specific student. Once you are finished with your changes, click Save to update the tracker screen. Finally, thank you for watching. Do not miss to like or dislike the video, and share the video and subscribe my channel. And see you in next video. Mahmoud Abdelhadi Hassan, STEM Luxor School 2021.